Never in a million years. I was asked how I got on with face mills, and the answer, short answer, not very well, even with this bigger machine. But with a deadlock mill, I'm doing all right. It's slow speed cutting, it's high speed steel. So I'm just going to show me facing off decent sized lump of cast. So far on this I've been taking 40 thou cuts. That's why there's all these chips here. I'm going to file off the edge, and then I'm going to take a finishing, probably 10,000th, something like that, on the ELT. Polished up all the T-slots, so my T-nuts fit in all the grooves equally all the way across, which is great. This one was a little bit tight. And I've tightened up the gibs down here and up here, which were a little bit slack as the table's bedded itself in. And coming right down the bottom, I've fitted a 4-stair fan down here. This was just a little open grill, so there's no cover plate on the back. The grill's off and the fan just gives 4-stair directly over the motor. It probably doesn't need it, but what the heck, eh? The horizontal spindle is an int 30, so it's a decent sized taper, and it holds horizontal cutters real solid. Face mills I've used have been on the knucklehead quill, and it's probably not as robust, not as firm. I'll get okay with aluminium, brass, fair with cast, and mild steel is hit and miss. And I've tried a variety of speeds and feeds. There's your cutter. So no real joy on that, and it's a custom arbor. It's a proper job. And it's really solid and it runs true. There's nothing, you know, when you put the indicator on this face, it comes up good, so can't see anything wrong with that in particular. And similarly, I've got a triangular insert tool, so either this one will work better on a material or the other one, and you have to play around with them, and it's just a carry on. So I'm sort of losing faith with these. I haven't done much fly cutting, but that's probably the way to go with the MT2. Just a by the by, my best set of verniers still works beautifully. And this, which cost me probably a tenner, and this fancy one, which is, you know, you can see these for sale all over the place, yellow and black one. It's totally given up the ghost. I've tried to put new batteries in, take batteries out. I've tried the on off, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold the origin, and I've pressed combinations. I'm not giving in on it, but it's absolutely annoying. Never mind. Right, so I'm going to file off up here and then take a face cut. So basically I'm just breaking off these edges, so when the cutter feeds along it doesn't have a tendency to crack this out. Not taking much, just an ease. Cutter is rotating this way. That's the cutting face, so it's cutting by lifting when the table feeds this way. This is the direction the table feeds. Naturally, I can take the table to the far end. I could feed the table manually this way so the cutter cut on the downstroke, but that means feeding the whole table, and because I've got it on a slow feed, it's just easier to let it go. And I've got the cutter in back gear, it's going pretty slow, so I can just leave this eating it away slowly. I'm going to finish off just taking these corners off and then fire it up. Alright, let's hit the go. There she be. Check if I've got a cut on. Okay, put the cut on. When it gets through, I'll bring you and we'll have a look at this face. My hands are a long way away from this cutter, which is about full arm's length away. Right, happy days. Okay, so it's not a production run. We can just chonk along, nice and steady. Working the way through. The workpiece is massively clamped. Not that tight, but just plenty of clamps. So tight and plenty of clamps. And this is currently standing at chest height. The cutter is cutting there down below table height. So the workpiece is hanging off the end, and the cutter's coming underneath it. Very little vibration on the table. Nothing here. Nothing here. I've been feeling those bearings, they're keeping cool. So all in all, just keep going, mate. This is the top slide off an old lathe. It's got relief underneath with V-ways. So what I'm going to do is use this to mount on top of here, and I can bolt items coming from up underneath and give me real nice clearance for stuff such as making T-nuts. So that's what I'm on with. Basically, it's a daft pallet table with access underneath so it can bolt through. In a minute, when this finishes, I'll have a look at the cut, and if we're looking good, we'll drop the table down and we'll put the chamfer on the edges. I'll show you how these cutters come off as well. As that's cutting, the cutter gets tight and tight onto the arbor, and that's sharp. If you try to take it off by hand, you're going to end up with chopped meat. Okay, so we've cleaned up here. You can see what I'm talking about. I can bolt up through from the underside. So the finish there is lovely. That is the top slide off a Smart & Brown lathe, an old one, not just absolutely lovely cast, unbelievable. So there we go. Now we'll take this cutter off. I'm going to drop the table down and we'll start putting the chamfers on the corners. Alright, the fans are still going, I'm just leaving it to cool, and if I try to, that's just not going to move. So that cutter is on solid. So what I'll do to take it off is loosen this stud here. So let's just back that one off and then tighten this one here. And that just gives the cutter a tiny move, a tiny unscrew, and then it just screws off. So there you go. That's a 3-inch Clarkson deadlock. And it does a nice job. That's my idea of a face mill. I'm going to put this away carefully, no chips on it, and see if I've got a horizontal cutter that I can just chamfer this with. Smashing. Okay, so off comes the deadlock chuck. It comes up quite tight to the face, whereas this is a 40 ER40 collet holder. I've just got a protector on so I don't damage the end of that thread. And into the ER40 I've got a 1-inch stub arbor, which has got a keyway, and I can mount a 45-degree cutter onto that arbor. Okay, and then tighten down just with some spacers. So I'll tighten that boy, tighten this, and then take off the end. Alright, well, we've got Frankenstein's monster set up here. I had to take a clamp off to give me space, but we're just chamfering off that end now. That should come good. So we'll feed this through, well, medium feed. Again, it's just going slow. I'm not on the deadline here. Let's run this, see how we go. Okay, it's okay just to set that up. That's given us a nice finish. We've got a nice chamfer on there. I might put a vertical block and mount it up and make it all fine and dandy. But anyway, we're looking good. That's nice. So for now, thanks very much for watching. I'm gone.